Okay, hello friends. I'm gonna try to make this intro short and sweet, but today, welcome to a 3 looks 1 palette video using the Huda Beauty Rose Quartz palette. Irrelevant? Perhaps, some may say, but I will die on the hill that old makeup, quote unquote old makeup, is, I feel like, not irrelevant. We can all buy new releases as soon as they come out. There's always new releases coming out all the time. I know this was super hyped up like pretty much a year ago, and I finally got around to do a 3 looks 1 palette with it. I wanted to do this for myself and also, I don't know, for other people, just because I wanted to see what I could do with it, you know, the different looks that I could do with it, because it is not necessarily monochromatic, but a very there's not a ton of different tones and stuff in here. I feel like it more plays with texture than anything. So maybe you wanted more inspiration. You've had it for a while, you know, you wanted more inspo, perhaps could be helpful. Or if you have been continually thinking about this, perhaps it could be helpful. Especially because Black Friday is coming up. Getting this palette on a discount is what I would recommend. And I know that they had a really good Black Friday sale last year, so if you were thinking about it, my thoughts on this palette will be at the end of the video. Honestly, I really love it. I love using it, and I loved making this video with it. Without further ado, let's just get into the first look. Okay, hello, welcome to the first look using the Huda Beauty Rose Quartz palette. LOL. Okay. So I'm going to do something that focuses on the pinks in this palette. First, I'm going to start with the shade Mantra. I want to do a halo eye. So I'm going to focus this on the outer and inner parts of my eye and then connect it through my crease, just stamping it. I'm going to start with the darkest shade. Work dark to light today. Okay, so now I'm going to take the shade Happiness, which is this purpley pink here, and I'm going to use that to blend out the shade Mantra. So just blending along the edges and then trying to just diffuse Mantra out. And then I may take a little mixture of Mantra and Happiness with mostly Happiness. Just a little dab of Mantra and just blend. And then I'm going to take the shade Cherished, which is this very light pink. And I'm going to blend this over the edge. I don't want to blend it out too much because this pink is super light, but just to really help it blend out. And now I'm going to take some NYX glitter primer and put this just in the center of my lid. And I'm going to take the shade Joy and the shade Self Love and put that on my lids. So I'm just slapping some glitter primer on there. Okay, yeah, so first I'm taking Joy, which is this very light pink, and I'm putting it... Why do I keep doing this? You know what? No. I want to take Self Love first and put this right in the center. So this is like a marbled shade. I'm just trying to pick it up in the center because I guess you could, you know, have the shade be different depending on where you pick it up in the pan. These shades that I'm using aren't like her most super textured compared to some of the other shades that are included in the palette. And then I'm going to take the shade Joy, which is a brighter pink, and put that on the inner and outer parts of where I put the glitter glue down. Hard kind of time layering Joy over here. Maybe it's just the way that it's hitting the light, but it looks like it's just not layering on top of the like Self Love shade. These shades definitely are more like satin, if anything. And then I'm going to just go back and forth between Self Love and Joy, just to blend them together a little bit more. I think it's just the way the light is hitting it that makes it seem like it's not really adhering. They're a little bit drier, these shades, so they don't want to like really cling and like layer over each other the way that like a more like creamy kind of like textured metallic might, but they're nice. Not my ideal formula necessarily, but they're fine. Now I'm going to, what am I going to do? I'm first going to take a little bit of the shade Happiness and just kind of blend this first over the edge one more time. These shades are quite light, so I don't want to over like blend and like get rid of the depth, but now I'm going to go back into the shade Mantra and just deepen my outer corners up, blend it into the shimmers. And then I'm going to take Self Love and Joy on my fingers and intensify them on my lid. And then I'm going to take a matte black, so this is just a Pat McGrath matte black, and put this on my inner and outer corners of my eye, just to really get the depth there. And then I'm going to take the shade Empowered right here, this super dark shade, just on my finger, and just tap this over the black. And then take maybe a little bit more of Joy and just tap that over the edge, just kind of melt them together a little bit. I think that's a little bit better. And then finally, I'm going to take the shade Moon Magic, this beautiful shade, just a little, and put that on my brow bone. Okay, so I just put some blush and highlighter on. I used the shade Phenomena from the Blend Bunny Noctilucent palette, highlighter palette, because I can't stop using it. And I used this little Tarte blush in the shade Party, if you were wondering. Okay, so just to finish my lower lash line up, I'm going to take the shade Mantra and just stamp this along my lower lash line, connecting it to my top lid. And then taking the shade Happiness and blending this over the Mantra shade and blending it out. And then take Cherish, that very light pink, and just blend the very edges out. And then I'm going to take that same matte black that I used on my top lid and put that in the inner and outer portion of my lower lash line. And then I'm going to take the shade Joy and Self Love, spray those so they stick, put them on the inner and outer parts of my lower lash line, and then I'll take the deepest shade and put that on the very edges as well. But for right now, just taking Joy, layering this over the top, and then taking Empowered and just patting that right on the inner and outer edges. And I think that's where I'm going to leave it. So I'm going to finish up the rest of my face and show you the finished. Okay, and this is the finished look. It didn't turn out quite as pink as I initially thought it might, but I feel like I have to play with this palette a little bit more. I haven't played with it as much as I would have liked to have at this point, but I feel like kind of no matter what you do, you're gonna get something purpley, like this kind of tone of purple. I still really like the look. I think it's really fun. And yeah, I enjoy it for sure. On my lips, I have the NYX Suede Matte Lip Liner in the shade Brooklyn Thorn and the Annabelle Big Show Matte Liquid Lipstick in the shade Avant Garde. And let's get into the second look. Okay, hello, welcome to the second look using the Huda Beauty Rose Quartz palette. I'm gonna do something pretty neutral, try to make it as like brown toned as possible. So I'm going to start with the shade Gratitude and use this as my first blending shade. I'm just gonna blend this through my crease. To take the shade Aura and build this up in my outer corner and my crease. And then I'm going to take the shade Mantra, this dark purple shade, and use this to deepen my crease. So I just put some NYX glitter primer on my eyelids, but I'm going to take these shades Energized. I'm going to take this in the center, and then the shade Quartz in the front part, and I might take the shade Abundance in my outer corner, but for now I'm going to take those two shades. So first, starting with Energized, putting that right in the center. See the shade looks beautiful. And then taking the shade Quartz in the front part, which is, I don't know what I was expecting, but Maybe this isn't gonna super go amazing together, but oh well. I don't know why I thought this was gonna be lighter than it is. And then I guess I'll just go back and forth between Quartz and Energized and just blend these together. Okay, so I just quickly did some blush and highlight. For reference, I used the ABH Dream Glow Kit in the shade Regal and the e.l.f. Primer Infused Blush in the shade Always Rosy. Anyway, so now just to finish up my lower lash line, I'm going to keep it, as usual, pretty simple. Taking Aura and running this underneath my eyes and blending it out. And then I'm going to take the shade Mantra and deepen my lower lash line. And then taking Gratitude and blending my lower lash line out. And I'm pretty much just going to leave it there, but I'm going to take the shade Moon Magic to finish. I sprayed that and I'm going to put that in my inner corners. I guess just to add a little bit of interest. Put a touch of that also on my brow bone. Alright, just to finish, I'm going to take a matte black and put this in my outer corner. This is just a Pat McGrath single. Okay, so that's where I'm going to leave it. I'm going to finish up the rest of my face and show you the finished look. Okay, and this is the finished look. On my lips, I have the NYX lip liner in Espresso and the Propa Beauty lipstick in the shade Closer. Honestly, I like this look a lot more than I was expecting to like it in the middle of it. I think it's a really interesting neutral look no matter what though. I think I guess if you didn't use the deepest purple, then it wouldn't be obviously as purpley toned. But no matter what, I think you're gonna get something purple pretty much no matter what. I don't hate that though. I mean, you kind of know that going into the palette anyway, just based on the color story. But I really like pairing browns and purples. I think it's interesting, but still neutral. And I think these shades are really pretty, especially the more metallic ones. The more satiny shades are fine, just not my favorite formula in general, but yeah. This is the second look. Let's get into the third one. Okay, hello and welcome to the third and final look using the Huda Beauty Rose Quartz palette. I'm going to do more of a graphic look today. I'm going to start using the shade Mantra. An attempt to do a winged shape. I've done this before. I think I might start on my left eye because typically I have an easier time mapping out a shape on this side, or maybe I shouldn't. And I'm just gonna, make a wing shape and pray. Okay, so due to some unforeseen circumstances, I did this eye off camera and I did my blush and highlight, but now I'm going to just put glitter primer. This is the next glitter primer all over like this blank space in my lid. And then I'm going to take the shade Empowered and then Abundance and then Cosmic Love and then Blissful. And do basically what I did on this eye, on this one. You'll see the process. Okay, and then I'm just going to go back and forth between the shades and just blend them together. And then I'm just going to intensify these on my lid with my fingers as carefully as I can. And then for my lower lash line, I'm going to keep it pretty simple as usual. I'm just going to take the Mantra shade, the matte that I used. I'm going to put this on the outer part of my lower lash line, but also connect it. See here, I'm just going to connect it so that it's like one, you know, line. And then I'm going to take each of the shimmer shades and just put them all along my lower lash line. I'm going to give them a spray though so that they stick. So starting with the shade Empowered, drop my brush, which is the darkest. Let's put this in the outer corner and continue on from there. And then finally, I'm going to take the shade Moon Magic. So I'm just using all the best shades today. And I'm just going to spray that and put that on my inner corners. And then I'm also just going to take a touch of this and put it on my brow bone as well. And that is all she wrote. So I'm just going to finish up my face and show the finished look. Okay, and this is the finished look. On my lips, I have the ColourPop Lippy pencil in the shade Ashton and the Maybelline Lifter Gloss in the shade Ice, which is a brand new purchase from me, made by me, from yesterday. Don't feel like it's a dupe for the Fenty Gloss Bomb. Okay, I'm just going to put it out there based on first impressions. It's a good gloss. It's no Fenty Gloss Bomb. But I do really like it. I love this like basically like very almost clear like milky pink. I think it's so pretty. Yeah, honestly this look, I love it. The shape never gets old to me. I think it's surprisingly easy and it makes an impact and is like kind of trendy because it's like more graphic but also something that I like, so it kind of I feel like meets my style and like graphic liner meets graphic kind of eyeshadow in a way that I love, and it shows off all of these like beautiful metallic sparkly shades that this palette has, so love that as well. Am I filming? Yes. Honestly, very late. I mean, it's basically, it's not new anymore, it's not quote unquote relevant, but maybe you were thinking of this palette, have been thinking of this palette for a while. Black Friday is coming up. I know Huda Beauty did a really good sale last year, so maybe this could be helpful. or an inspiration perhaps if you've had this palette for a while. I really like this palette, although I would say I would not recommend getting it full price just because Huda Beauty is so expensive. But I think there are some really, really beautiful shimmer shades, which, I mean, as evidenced here. And I also feel like in terms of texture, you can get a lot of variety. There's satins, there's like smoother metallics, there's obviously more like PC, more toppery shades. I mean, you have this freaking stupid jelly shadow that I feel like no one's gonna use. But anyway, that's kind of a dud for me. And I do like that they have this deep purple in there. I will say though, like no matter what, no matter how hard you try, in my experience, you're gonna get something that's this tone, that's like cool toned purple. Kind of across the board. I mean, my second look I feel like was a little bit more neutral, but still had like kind of purpley tones. For me, I love purple, so that's not the big, like that's not a huge issue for me, but that also does mean that you're not gonna get like the largest variety of like super different looks just because of the color story. But I do think if you like kind of like mauvey purpley tones, this would be like a really nice kind of like everyday palette. I don't know, because it's colorful-ish but also neutral-ish, kind of meets in the middle. And I feel like if you really want it and have been looking into it, Black Friday is like a really good time to get it on a discount. And it definitely does make me intrigued for Huda Beauty's other palettes. I think she does palettes very innovatively, not in terms of color story, but she's was one of the first brands and is a brand that kind of is one of the only ones that continually really plays with different textures in palettes. I feel like she's always done that, whether or not I love it in terms of the pressed glitters or jelly shades or anything like that. She always kind of switches things up. And so for that reason, I don't know. I like Huda Beauty shadows for sure. And like I said, I think before, they're probably one of my like favorite mainstream formulas. But yeah, that's my thoughts. Honestly, I love this look. I wish I was wearing it for longer. So pretty, truly. And those are kind of my thoughts. Hopefully this was helpful in some way. And I'm gonna leave it here. I have ramen coming soon, so I'm gonna slurp that up. And yeah, thank you so much for watching, especially if you made it to the end of a 3 looks 1 palette video. That's probably long. I'm with an older palette, so all the kisses to you, and I would love to see you in my next one. Bye.